India has lost almost 10,000 elementary government schools in the past 1 year. Is this just a shutdown or a failure of the school system, or is the situation more complex? Let's find that out. Welcome back to the latest update series of Drishti IAS. This is Divya Kabatra and we are going to talk about elementary government schools of India. What are their conditions? Why are they closing down? What is the real reason behind that? And what does the data show? All right, come on, let's do that. First of all, let's understand that nearly we have lost 10,000 government schools. Recently that news came, and in just 1 year, right? Exactly. Now at first glance, obviously this number sounds very alarming, like what is happening? Why are all these schools closing down? How will we provide education to those children wherever the schools have closed down? So the thing is that it is a bit more complex than that. Why is it a bit more complex? Let's understand, because the real story is not exactly about the school closure. There is a hidden agenda behind this. What is that? First of all, let's understand the data that was given to us in the Lok Sabha on August 10 that has shown that schools were shutting down. Okay, the data has shown that government elementary schools fell sharply between 2024-25 and 25-26. Meghalaya, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh have recorded some of the steepest declines. Figures are obviously triggering a debate that whether India is ready for education system or not, whether India is reducing public partnership there and increasing private partnership there, or what is happening. So multiple debates have come forward according to this data that has been presented in the structures. Now, what is the current pattern? Like, what is the enrollment pattern? Are we changing something? What is happening? So one by one, let's understand that. The core trend, the closure versus consolidation, let's understand. First of all, the numbers that we see. Okay, why the number has been striking, there's a reason behind this. What is it? According to the official data that has come from the Unified District Information System for Education Plus, UDIS Plus, you know that, right? We have a data infrastructure that is UDIS Plus. It says that India has seen a net decline of thousands of state-run primary and middle schools for multiple states, right? UP, Gujarat, Maharashtra and Rajasthan. Another thing, the official narrative is consolidation. They're saying it is not shutting down, they are consolidating. We were running 10 schools with lesser number of students. Now we are running 5 schools with more number of students for better exposure, better competitiveness, with less resources, less spending. That is consolidation. State governments and Ministry of Education, they have said that this is not closure, this is school consolidation and rationalization. Why? Because schools were running on a very low populace, right? And to have that, we had to spend all on the infrastructure, on the teachers and everything. Like India has this 30 students, 1 teacher, right? This is the ratio. That is a standard ratio. Sometimes it goes above and beyond that also. But then again, here, often the schools were running with fewer than 15 to 50 students. Entire school has 15 students, just imagine. Why would we want to run that? So they said that if we consolidate a fewer schools that are still across the arena where students can reach there and their, transport facilities or etc. is still working there. So we consolidate that and ask the students to come to another part of it. The same spending we can do on that one school to make it better with better facilities, computer labs, scientific labs and more investment on better productivity rather than spending them on just creating new buildings for the school. So this is rather consolidation, not closure, right? That is what the government has put forward, that school complexes were taking a lot of investment, and now under NEP 2020, the central push has encouraged the states to merge low enrollment schools because they are obviously not benefiting anyway, right? Entire school, 15 students, just imagine the level of competitiveness the student must be feeling or the level of push towards education the student must be feeling. It is a fun activity for them. Such a large school, 15 students roaming around. Fun play, not education, right? So the state's rationale, authorities have said that merging under-enrolled schools allows them to pool resources also. That will give them better science labs, sports infrastructure, digital equipments, and that way, by instead of having many under-scored schools with basic facilities, we will have fewer top tier schools with amazing facilities and proper enrollments for students to have peer companionship, competition, all that, right? That is what they have said why this is being done. But then that makes us think, what is driving the drop in enrollment? Like, why is there a drop in enrollment to begin with? We say that there is less enrollment, so less number of students are there. Because less number of students are there, we are consolidating schools. So we have one school with large population rather than many schools with fewer population. Fine. But why is there less enrollment? Why don't we have more children there? Why don't we have more students there? Right? To understand that, see, first of all, expansion of private unaided education has begun. Parents, even in the lower income segment, they also want, or in the semi-urban regions also, they're increasingly shifting towards low-cost private budget schools. They're saying that even if it is not very good school, but still it is private and it has better facilities, so they perceive them as offering better quality education, English education, and parents are actually preferring private school even if they have low income or they live in the semi-urban areas. Number one reason. That's why they are pulling their children out of government schools and putting them in private schools. All right. Second is demographic shift. The declining birth rates are anyway giving us lesser populations, so we have lesser enrollments in any which way. Infrastructure and staffing deficit, persistent issues in the remote government schools like missing functional toilets, single teacher institution. The entire school is run by single teacher. That single teacher is also the principal, also the teacher, also teaching maths, also teaching science, also teaching SST, also taking sports activities, also the PT teacher, also the computer lab. Everything under one single teacher. Obviously, parents lose faith in that system. When they go to private to compare, they see that, okay, the fees is a little bit more. In low budgeted private schools, the fees is a little bit more. It is not very high. But in that, they see that our children will be getting dedicated teacher for every subject, proper labs, proper facilities, right? So obviously they would want to move towards the private sector. Yeah. These are the kind of problems, teachers' institution delayed maintenance, that has driven the local community away and more importantly towards the private communities, the private schools. Clear? Exactly. Now, what are the frameworks and legal hooks regarding this? What can be done and why are we at all running this then? So first of all, under National Education Policy 2020 and school complexes, NEP 2020 explicitly says that you create school complexes on hubs and spokes model, and the policy clearly says that small isolated schools with low enrollment are resource inefficient and they obviously struggle to provide better facilities. So they should not be running in that manner. We should find a solution towards that, and that is the solution. Consolidation, right? And then the Right to Education Act comes under Section 6 that mandates the establishment of primary school within 1 kilometer. Because of that, these many schools were created, because within 1 kilometer radius, every household should have a school. We did that. But then does 1 kilometer radius really have that many students that can go to school and then fulfill the enrollment also? So this creates a problem. Just imagine, just 1 kilometer radius, a village, you need number of students to fulfill the demands of the enrollment ratios. Not practical, right? And because of that, we are changing this as well. So upper primary school, we have 3 kilometers for every neighborhood, right? The important UPSC angle here is, please understand that, school consolidation is giving direct legal and policy tension with RTE's spatial mandate. That is where the problem is arising. Even after consolidation, while it seems like very good idea, we will have to change this, right? Because if we want to continue with the consolidation, this will not allow it. And this is right to education. That is also very, very, very important at the same time as NEP. Clear? Exactly. So now we have SDG target 4.1 also, universal access to free, equitable and quality primary, secondary education by 2030 that we need to do. So SDGs are also pushing us towards that. This is our policy and framework and legal hook that is working towards education in India currently. Clear? All right. What are the major concerns here then? What are the policy critiques? Like, It seems like a good policy, good consolidation, better services. Then why are there critiques? Let's understand. First of all, we have conflict with the right to education that we have seen. Because there is a conflict, either you have to amend this or you have to change that. Something or the other has to be done because both cannot coincide. Simple. Secondly, impact on girl students. If the distance increases, sometimes parents might not be willing to send their girl child to a distant, right? To a distant school, to such a large distance that they don't feel safe, right? And according to the conditions that are happening in India, and every other day that you listen to the cases that are happening, it obviously horrifies them, right? Most of the girl child who are going to school are kidnapped on the way, and then a lot of things happen following that, right? So that fear is not allowing them to send their girl child, especially the smaller ones who don't have any idea about right and wrong, and anything can happen. Under that fear, they are not able to send their children to a large distance, right? And that might lead to outward migration for girl child, right? They might drop out from the school, and the dropout rates might also increase because of this, especially in the female, right? Exactly. Then loss of community spaces also. Villages, primarily schools, they serve as social centers, safe havens for marginalized communities. Like whenever they have some issues or whenever they want to gather around, they always gather in the school ground, right? If you shut down those, they lose their havens also, and the state welfare is not working here. And that way they don't, they will provide free midday meal and health checkups, right? If the school is distant and students roll out or drop out of it, that means they won't get the benefit of this also, right? And then private costs shifted to households. When the state reducing its physical footprint in the remote hamlets, families obviously pay out of pocket for the transport facilities also in the private segments also, right? And they have to bear that financial burden, right? So these are the critiques because of which we're saying that it might be a good step, but then again, it is not the final step. You have to do a lot of work alongside that to actually make it feasible and better. Clear? Exactly. Now, what are the best practices that we have? First of all, in India, we have Niti Aayog's Sathi project, that is Sustainable Action for Transforming Human Capital in Education. This was implemented in Odisha, Jharkhand and MP. They have merged low enrollment schools systematically while providing transport facilities, safe transport facilities, and that is how this has been done, right? We can take example from their case study and try to implement that on national level. Odisha model. What is the Odisha model? School merges. It provided transport allowance to students affected by the school consolidation so that there is no dropout, right? Then Brazil's rural school transport strategy. Brazil has also done the same. How so? When rural schools were consolidated in Brazil, they also provided free regulated municipal school transportation so that access was not compromised, right? So this is something you have to do. Give them a safe environment, give them safety. Only then they would be able to consider moving their children, right? Exactly. Now, before we move to our question for the day, we have a reminder for you. Our Freedom Sale is live from 11th to 16th August and across various verticals like UPSC, PCS, teaching, CUET, etc. Especially for IAS Foundation course, we have a flat 50% off 11th to 16th August, 55,000 rupees. That is the slashed price, lowest ever, in which you get prelims, mains, notes, classes, structures, 3 years prelims test series, 3 years current affairs modules, classes, all of that in just this price. That is absolutely amazing. And it also includes mains courses and optional courses as well. You can join that from the Drishti IAS learning app as well as the Drishti IAS website. Or if you face any problem, you can give us a call on 87501 87501. All right. Okay, don't forget the dates, but 11th to 16th August. All right. Okay, on that note, let's solve the question. But before we come to the question, let me ask you that we were talking about right to education, and we know that from the beginning of the Constitution, we did not have right to education. Before you solve this question, tell me in the comment section, which was that amendment that gave us right to education? Tell me the amendment, the number and the year of the amendment through which we gained right to education. Answer that in the comment section, and now read this question and give an answer to this as well. Done? All right, let us know your answer. And if you want to join us for more such current affairs discussions every day, we meet every day, Monday to Saturday, live at 8:30 a.m. to discuss the Hindu newspaper, PIB, as well as practice questions. Do join the session at the Drishti IAS English channel that you can see here. All right? Okay, that was our session for the day. Thank you so much for joining in. We'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.